Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this meeting of the Kitsap Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Before we get started, I'd like to do some opening remarks here. Okay. Thank you for participating in our remote regular monthly meeting of the Parks Advisory Board. We will do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting with public participation and ask that everyone be patient as we navigate this electronic platform. We have two formats for participation: the Zoom web application as well as teleconference. Before we begin, I want to review some guidelines and general instructions for the meeting. Please silence your other communication devices, such as your cell phone or desk phone. This will ensure that we are not hearing any feedback or causing interruption during the meeting. During the meeting, all participants on Zoom, pardon me while I scroll, during the meeting, all participants on Zoom, except for board members and county staff, will be placed on mute by the host. This means that you will not be able to mute or unmute your lines manually. The chair will announce opportunities for public comment, which are included in the meeting agenda. For those of you on Zoom, if you would like to make a comment, please click the raise hand feature to signal you would like to comment. The sound will be unmuted. The internet participant should announce their first and last names before speaking. The participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. For those calling in using the phone line only, if you'd like to make public comment, please dial *9 on your keypad to signal that you would like to comment. The last four digits of the call-in number will be announced, and call-in participants should announce their first and last names before speaking. The participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. Please note, you can hang up or leave the Zoom meeting at any time. And so now moving forward. Oh, I have a menu here. Thank you. Okay, so welcome and introductions. Let's go ahead and go around the table. First off, board members, please introduce yourselves.
Dawn Doctor from South Kitsap, District 2.
Lisa Hurt, North Kitsap, District 1.
Jessica Rice.
Larry Walker, the third member of the District 2 South Kitsap. Staff, starting with you, boss.
Alex Wisniewski, Parks Director for Kitsap County.
Carmen Smith, Parks Planner.
Alex Hardy, Marketing and Event Supervisor.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, next item on the agenda is adoption of the April 16th and May 21st meeting minutes. We did a slight clerical error and Robert's Rules of Order error on adopting minutes last month. So we have to adopt our minutes from April 1st. So I would entertain a motion to adopt the April minutes as originally written.
So moved. I second.
So are you moving or are you seconding?
I'll move.
You'll move. Okay. Do I have a second?
I will second.
I have a motion and a second. Okay. Any discussion? Yes.
I have to be here. I would like to ask that April minutes, that there is discussion with the language about classifications. And then later there is action that uses the word classification. There was never, what kind of classification? Was that in the minutes? Whether it was landscape or land use classification? Because I know there was a long discussion about that. And because the terminology was used in the definition, I mean, in the under the action area, I just didn't know if that needed to be included in there to clarify what we were actually discussing, or if that everybody is okay on that.
I agree with Dawn because there's no clarity there. And I think there's yeah, a problem with that in the minutes.
Okay, and then I'm a little confused there. So we had the main motion to accept the pros plan, recommend presenting to the Board of Commissioners. Amy Lawrence seconded the motion. Then there's the comment that Linda Barry Marist requests the classification definition be included in the recommendation. Then the motion was approved. So the comment from Linda, I remember during our voting process, many of us raised our hand and said, yes, as long as we include this definition. So I'm worried under this scenario that there can be confusion. I'm not sure if all of the board members realized if they were voting on the the motion as John stated it, or if they kind of had in their head that they were voting on that motion, including Linda's recommendation. Because I remembered people saying, yes, as long as we include Linda's classification. So I'm not saying that we necessarily need clarification at this time, but I do wanted to point out at this time that I think there was ambiguity in what is here.
And, oh, sorry.
And it concerned me just about these minute meetings, but I can't remember exactly how it went. And I wanted to use this opportunity to say that I feel like, I know I am, but all of us, I feel, have been a little lax with our Roberts rules, and to remind us that when we give a motion, we just state the motion. And again, correct me if I'm incorrect, but we state the motion, I move that X, Y, Z. We don't say I move that X, Y, Z because of blah, blah, blah. We just state the motion. Then the motion may or may not be seconded. And if then there's possibly discussion, but when we vote, we just vote whatever we're asked to, A or nay, or whatever word to give. We don't give explanation after that. And if we do, such as in the case where I think happened that night when we did that, that we should be instructed or consider that it's possible to add an amendment to the motion, and that we would be instructed on how to add that rather than let us ramble on when we like, yes, I vote yes, but this, and this are my conditions. And so I just want to point out that there may be ambiguity here.
Okay, my question is, yes, Liz, my question may actually go to you. Does anybody remember if we asked for if somebody offered a friendly amendment that was then accepted by John and we voted on the friendly amendment? I don't remember. Lisa, do you remember?
No, we did not. And I had all those questions and you really wanted to push the vote. So, you know, even in the minutes, it reflects what you suggested. Subcommittees meet to further discuss the specific items that I had questions with. I never would have voted yes in that moment if indeed you didn't say that and we had agreed to that. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
where we're at right now is that the ambiguity, there was no amendment offered to the amendment or to the motion. So this means that I think we're good on this one. If you're good on this one, hang on. Because further on our agenda, we do have a revisit of the vote. And that's where this portion of the conversation can go. Okay, so right now we're just looking at approving the April minutes as written. So are there any amendments to the April minutes as written?
Well, that's why I would probably make a motion to reconsider the vote taken in April meeting.
Okay, but this is not the point of time where you will be doing that. we do have an agenda item to reopen the vote.
Okay,
That's when we would do that. That's some item, that's item 4A,
right, got it.
our agenda. Yeah, so that's where we would do something like that.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, hearing no more amendments to the April minutes, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. One, two. Okay, we have minutes for April. Now, May. Okay. I'm going to offer a recommendation here. Because we do have some clarificational language here that was not actually discussed at the meeting, that being the Roberts Rules comments about below the action here. We did not actually hard copy discuss this. This came in afterwards. I understand that this was included in our packets so that we would understand where we stood in Robert's Rules. And I apologize to everybody for not being an expert on Robert's Rules and letting that get off the track. But so I would offer a recommendation that we remove. Robert's Rule states a motion is needed to reopen a vote for discussion and revote. A motion to reopen the discussion regarding the pros plan can be brought forward at the June meeting. The April minutes will also need to be voted on for the final approval. This is actually guidance we got from legal department, and it was not discussed at the meeting. Yes, Dawn.
I am not opposed to strict.
Microphone.
Good, thank you.
Technology. Thank you.
I'm not opposed to stricken it from the record, but I do think we should maybe discuss the option of adding a statement that this little paragraph that you just read was added after the fact to help explain the action so that future readers of the minutes will know that they should look somewhere else, but make a clear statement or somehow leave it in there. And I would recommend that we add after it says adoption of minutes, there's the first statement there, Lisa Hurt. Then after abstention, I would say there was discussion on if or how this could be done, but there was not clear decision about how that vote should have been made. There was discussion, but there, as if it was, but something along the lines that we did discuss it, but we were not able to direct her.
I would offer, I
Precisely.
would offer to you
Mhm.
that the explanatory is the fact that the chair made a decision. Chair made a decision, an
That's
error, it turns out. I'll admit I'm wrong. Don't tell my wife. And, but, you know, strike the language that was not discussed, but instead insert language to the fact that it was discussed. There was no, we knew of no good guidance. So chair made a chair decision. Will that work for you?
Yes, and I'm
Okay.
sorry, Dee, we're probably making this really difficult for you. But I feel like that adds that clarification that it was brought up, it was discussed, we made a decision, hindsight, and then adding that little paragraph and being clear that it was later figured out how to do it, and this is what we're doing. So for a reader here, go to June.
Yeah, and see, that will be reflected in June minutes. So, are you good with striking the Robert's Rules language there, as long as we update minutes that there was a discussion about Robert's Rules?
So did I need to make a motion for that, or did you?
You can. I know the chair doesn't make motions.
Okay.
Look, you've seen what happens when I make a decision.
Just because I want to be clear on this, I move that we add the language. There was discussion on if or how this could have been done, but at the guidance of the chair.
You don't have to worry about my feelings.
A decision was made to allow the abstinence change, the change of vote. Does
Is
that
there-
sound?
Does that language work for everybody?
And to amend the paragraph with the Roberts Rules states to clearly state that this information was not available during the meeting, but was added after the meeting for instruction for the next meeting.
Am I going to go to jail for approving that? You've already sick legal on me once.
It's all good. This is actually really helpful, so appreciate the conversation. Don, I think it's a great suggestion. There's a reason why we record these, so we can go back and, well, Dee goes back and rewatches and clarity, and give credit to Dee, and we'll capture this, in accordance with the direction from the board. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm
Okay.
sorry I didn't have it better written out.
Okay, so do I have a motion to accept with the amendment?
I make a motion to accept with the amendment
Okay.
that Dawn just stated.
Okay, okay, we have a motion and a second. D, you're in charge of figuring this one out. Okay, we've already had our discussion. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? No opposition? We have meeting minutes. Thank you very much. Dawn, thank you for keeping me squared away. Lisa, thank you for keeping me honest. Not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree. So now, next item agenda. Public comments, 3 minutes limit for time per person. No?
This is so much fun. You just like to sit in.
Nothing. Do we have anybody in queue? We do not. Okay. So moving on, special presentations reports. First, next item is reopening pros plan vote from office. The way we need to do this, we need to have a motion to reopen the vote. And then we can discuss the motion. We get them. And then we'll vote on the motion to reopen. If we pass that, then we reopen the vote.
Okay, I make a motion and I thought it was to reconsider, but you say reopen, whatever it might be the wording. I make a motion to reopen the vote taken in April meeting in regards to moving the pros plan forward.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right.
I
So
will second.
You will second. Okay. I think there is value to this conversation. And if nothing else, just to make sure that the public knows where we're at and make sure that they got the best information. Okay, so any other comments before we actually, yes, Dawn?
I wish to comment on why I think of reconsidering the vote would be valid. Lisa has talked to me about why she felt she wanted to change her vote during last meeting, that she realized that we would not be having a subcommittee meetings. And I think she kind of was under that impression. And so she felt like that was new information, that if she would have known, there would have been no more discussion. So I accept that as a possible reason for reconsidering it, because it is new information, take it or not. But the real reason I think we need to reconsider this vote is because we just looked at the meeting minutes that were from that April meeting. And I feel like there was a lot of ambiguity and confusion in what was happening during that vote. And we have tried to change it to make it reflect that. And the third reason that I think is really important is that as a board, we should be willing to step forward and try to erase any doubt of what was happening. And since we even have confusion within ourselves, I think reopening it considering if we did want to have the straight motion again as what John stated, or if we wanted a motion that included John's statement plus Linda's recommendation or any other. So at this time, I felt we could restate the motion if we chose to or not. But that's would be for the motion vote. This vote is just for the reconsideration, if we should reconsider it or not. And so those are my reasons why I seconded the idea to have a reconsideration for the vote.
Yes, Jessica.
I think if we were to vote again, I'm assuming that's what we're discussing right now. Is to
We're discussing whether we re-vote or not. Yes.
Can't hear.
We,
She needed a microphone.
No, can you hear me now, Lisa?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, so, I'm wondering if we should maybe push it to next month. There's not a lot of people here in the sense of like, if we're voting on something like that, I feel like it's, I think we're missing what, 4 people today from the board? Yeah. So that would just be my consideration, is to maybe try to push it to next month, because, and I know we're on a time schedule and we're probably already
behind.
behind.
It sounds to me like the agenda's already moved forward through all the planning commission and everything else, so it's kind of a moot point really at this point from my mind and how I see it. Other than I don't want to have my name as a pro vote for this movement, for this agenda item. Because I have a lot of questions still, and I don't even know, again, if it moved forward, we don't even know if Linda's comment got put in there about the classification systems. It's just like, I feel like a lot of the time we say stuff and it just never happens. So, it just, we say it, you say it's gonna happen, and then do we know if it happened or did it, so it's moving forward as was written, and that seems to be the case. In my mind, that's how I see it. So I don't want to, again, why I made the motion to reopen the vote, so I could vote again and say, I got an unfair shake there, because I said I wasn't gonna approve it, but then you said we would talk about it in subcommittee meetings, which we never did. So, yeah.
Alex, you're getting very antsy with your microphone. If we move forward with this, can this, if we do clarification, can that be appended to what's moving forward at this time?
Yes, so I was just talking with Carmen, the classifications referred to in the meeting minutes, which was based on the discussion around park classifications, so not landscape classifications, which is something different that we need to change the name of in the future so that we can stop the confusion around the continued use of the word classification. So it's around park classifications, and Linda's request was about adding some clarifying language to the definitions within the plan, in the body of the plan, that called out that the park classifications unto themselves do not dictate the management of the park. There was language that we added after the April PAB meeting within the parks plan that talks about classifications to indicate that exact item. And that is also language exists in I believe in the appendices as well, in the description of the park classifications. So
if I capture your comments correctly, if we reopen the vote and we vote to amend to add conversation about further in conversation about parks classifications. That will actually bring us into the reality of where we are now.
It will, I would say that the comments that were raised in April have already been amended
So,
into the
yeah,
plan.
That's what I mean. That's,
Okay.
that will actually put us in alignment with what we would actually move forward.
Sure, yes. that's
Okay,
correct.
I'm just trying to screw in logic. I know it's government, so that's probably not the best move, but don't quote me on that, D. So, okay, yes, Dawn.
So I just want to clarify. So if, and again, I'm sorry, I may be jumping to the next
I say this
discussion.
is all about reopening the vote.
Right. So I'll ask my question later.
Okay, so all in favor of reopening the vote, please raise your hand. I have one, we have two. Those opposed, please raise your hand. We have two. Oh, crud. I have to vote. All right, well, you know, when I first walked in the room this evening, actually, you know, when I was sitting at the ballgame last night and got the word about this, I was very much in favor of not reopening the vote. However, I think we do have some valid conversation, not extended conversation, please, but valid conversation that we can apply. And so we can update our recommendations to reflect what the recommendations that the Parks Office took already, make sure that that's on record. So I will vote in favor of reopening the vote. So we have now reopened the vote. I will entertain a motion to adopt, amend, whatever. Lisa, would you like to make the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to, what would that, oh, the words, what were those words? What was it, rescind, my vote?
Well, we're just, Lisa, we're just gonna reopen the vote.
Okay, reconsider the vote. Okay, I make a motion to reconsider the vote taken in April meeting and to open it, regards to moving the pros plan forward. How's that?
Okay, well, we have voted to reopen the vote.
That's what I
What
thought.
Yeah, what I'm looking for now is a motion to adopt the pros plan with your amendatory language that you were looking for about land classifications as moved forward, the park classifications. Yeah, not land, park.
Okay, that was one of them. So,
We're not gonna go way down in the weeds, please.
okay, how about if Dawn makes that motion then?
Dawn, you got your hand in the air anyway, before your fingers go numb.
May I make a comment before I make a motion? Okay. This is back to my question for what Alex just said. So my understanding is that everything we discussed regarding Linda's park classifications have been included in the current pros plan. Therefore, I do not feel that we need to add an amendment or alter it. So I am going to move that we accept the pros plan and recommend presenting the pros plan to the Board of Commissioners.
Okay, have a motion. Do we have a second?
Do we have a conversation?
Once we get a second, then we hold the conversation. This is the one part of Robert's rules that I actually do know, that we have to have a motion and a second and then discussion. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, please, let's try to limit the amount of discussion. We want to capture what needs to be said, but I have an appointment at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning I have to be at, so I don't want to be
Okay.
here all night.
Okay, Larry, well, I
Yeah.
just want to make the point that none of the comments that I was discussing during that meeting are listed even in the minutes. So we'd have to go back and look at them through the recording. But why did Linda's motion get carried and none of my concerns were even listed? That's what I would like to know.
Okay, Alex, your hand's in the air.
Because Linda's comments were part of the motion and the topics that were discussed previous to that were just part of the conversation, not part of the motion, so they didn't get drafted into the action.
So I should have made a motion on all those comments that we were supposedly discussing?
If you were proposing changes to the motion based on the topics that were discussed prior to the motion, then yes, then they should have been captured into the motion that was voted on.
Well, the fact that Larry put in here that we would discuss it further in subcommittee meetings, I guess I felt like we would be having more discussion about it. So maybe I did not make a motion because I felt we would be discussing it further. So confusion.
Certainly, and we're trying to clarify that now. So you have your opportunity to clarify anything that you want into the current motion that's on the table.
And I can choose whether I vote pro or against in this vote. Okay,
Oh, absolutely. It's a brand new slate. It's a new day.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Yes, Dawn.
I just wanted to point out that, and Dee, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but she usually puts a very nice paragraph before an action that describes the discussion before. And in my notes, Lisa, I do have that you talked about stewardship groups and the clarity and things like that. And it is captured under the special presenter reports that the PAB members discuss the language referring classifications, the history of stewardship management and comparison of short-term versus long-term volunteers. So I think this paragraph did grab some of what you said. And I also believe that typically in these types of discussions that we like to leave off personal names and things like that is correct. Typically during the discussion, we don't say X person made this comment, so-and-so made this comment, and you try very hard to keep it to the facts, correct? It is not verbatim, but she tries to keep it to the facts. So I do think she tries hard to get it all captured.
Okay, any other discussion before we vote? All right, so our motion is to adopt and present to adopt the pros plan and as written and present to county commissioners, correct?
I basically presented the exact same motion that John did, wherever it was. I've got my meeting minutes.
Accept the pros plan and recommend presenting to the Board of County Commissioners.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay, that's your motion. Okay,
And thank you for rereading the motion before we vote.
okay. Well, I'm trying to do a good job on my little twilight tour here. Okay, so the motion is to accept the pros plan and recommend presenting to the Board of Commissioners. All in favor, please raise your hand. We're voting now. 1, 2, 3. Opposed? One, have 3 in favor, 1 opposed. We have a motion approved. We will once again present this to the Board of Commissioners. Everybody, I want to thank you for bearing with us on this. Everybody out there in TV and radio land, this is the wonderful bit of government that is always so much fun. Lisa, thank you for bearing with us and everything, keeping us honest.
Thank you.
I'm here for you. Okay. Special presentations reports, item B, capital improvement project prioritization. Carmen, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Go ahead and share my screen. Do you know what it's about? Stop and try again. Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks for bearing with that technical difficulty. Go ahead and get started. So this evening, we're talking about a draft prioritization process for our capital improvement program. So I'll go ahead and get right into it. We have a little bit of background about what the CIP is, talk a little bit about our process, and then we'll spend the bulk of the time talking about the draft process that we have at the moment. So a little bit of background, the CIP or Capital Improvement Program is a 6-year look at all the capital projects the department intends to work on over the next 6 years. So it's updated annually, rolling on an annual basis. It's developed by staff and then ultimately approved by the Board of County Commissioners in the fall of every year. So currently, the department doesn't have a process to evaluate, prioritize, score, analyze capital projects. And so that leads us to our goal, which is to help correct this and to develop a process to evaluate and prioritize those capital projects to support decision-making for which projects are advanced to the CIP each year. So a couple of notes on this. It is our first time doing this process. It is a new process, so this is not intended by any means to be end-all be-all process or the final version. This is draft. We fully expect there to be hiccups for things like, oh, we didn't think of that, we need to add that, or ways to improve it. So this is just you got to start somewhere. This is our first draft. Also, this process is primarily focused on those built environment projects. So recognize that other types of projects like natural resource projects, planning projects, and land acquisition probably will need a different tool. This process probably won't work for those types of projects. So we're starting with built environment. That is our focus for this. Doesn't mean it's any more important than anything else, just where we're starting. So just a couple of notes on parameters there. Talk a little bit about our process for how we developed this. So we started by looking to see what other people do, what other jurisdictions, park districts, or departments do. As well as within the county, the Public Works Department does an annual transportation improvement program, just similar, but transportation project. So it's a helpful process document, something that is going on within the county. It's been going on for a while, so it was a helpful process document. We also looked at Clark County's Parks Department and the city of Redmond within the state, and then a couple of other ones outside of the state from what we were able to find. So from there, we worked with the PAB subcommittee, the Capital Projects and Parks Subcommittee, and had 2 meetings with that group to first, we started looking at those example processes and pull things out that we liked, things that we didn't like. And so you'll see some of those components reflected in our draft process. couple of examples. We talked a lot about, some examples used a yes, no, like binary scoring, 1 point if it was a yes, 0 points if no. We talked about wanting more of a spectrum, like a 0 to 5 point scales where we'd be able to have more wiggle room to score projects and prioritize projects that way. We also looked at a phased approach, so you'll see that and it'll make more sense when we get to that slide, but having a few different steps in the process. And last thing that we talked about from the examples was being able to weight certain criteria higher than others. So like a multiplier to indicate importance of some criteria. So you'll see a couple of ×2 weights in the draft process as well. So this. Okay, there we go. So this is the phases that I was talking about. So this is a high level look at the 3 steps for the process. So starting with step 1 there, we'll look at alignment with the department operations. Is this something that the department does? Does it support our values and our operations? And if not, then it wouldn't move forward for further study and analysis because it's not aligned with the department's mission. If it does, and you'll see we've got some questions that help focus this, then it would be able to move forward into that step 2, which is the bulk of the prioritization scoring. So 1A there, again, just focuses us for this process primarily on built environment projects. So step 2, scoring, we've got 5 criteria. And so each project will, if it aligns with step 1, it'll march through each of those 5 criteria and see how it totals out, basically. Then lastly, step 3 is the balancing. We've referred to it more as the human component where there's other considerations besides just what the math adds up to be at the end of the step 2. So you'll see what those are when we get to that phase. Okay. So here's that step 1. Does the project align with department operations? So a number of bullet points there. For each one, it's a yes, no question. If it meets at least 1, we decided that the project would move forward for further consideration. Again, if it doesn't meet any of these, it's put to the side, not scored further. And a lot of these bullet points came from goals and language in the PROS plan. That's where a lot of. So now moving into step 2, which is the bulk of the prioritization scoring. Got 5 criteria. The first one is about safety. Safety was pretty universal across all the examples that we looked at as being an important component. We agreed and felt that it was an important component. We want our facilities to be safe to all users. So we decided to weight that one with a multiplier of 2. So possible 10 points with this criteria. And you can see it's a matrix of scoring with safety having 2 components, likelihood of an event, a safety hazard occurring, as well as impact. So something that is very likely to occur and also very likely to have pretty severe consequences would score high, would score 5 points or ×2, you get 10, all the way down to something that it's maybe not so likely to happen and not so likely to have a huge impact, would score less. Asset preservation. This is another one that we felt was important to weight ×2. And this one is focused on taking care of our existing facilities, taking care of what we have currently before adding any new facilities. And so that's why the multiplier of ×2 is intended to help elevate those projects that help improve our existing facilities. So you'll see the 0 to 5 point scale across all of these. 5 points looking, project would score 5 points if there's pretty significant action that's needed to help retain the value or function of that asset. In the italic parentheses are just examples of the types of projects to help as you're going through scoring. So things like really major repairs or even to replacement. Down to 1 point where maybe it's a minor repair or something that's more cosmetic, and that actually might not even rise to a capital project. Maybe it's something that we can do in-house, but that's how the scale there. Improved efficiency is about projects that would help improve our efficiency and or reduce maintenance and operations costs. 5 points being something that's going to result in pretty significant improvements or savings. So we talked about energy efficiency or utility savings down to 1 point, standardizing some amenities in parks that are pretty, we talked a bit about high touch or low touch park amenities in-house. And things that if we can standardize certain amenities within the parks, like garbage cans, for example. We talked about that we have a number of different types of garbage cans. They require different bags, sizes, they have different costs. So there was a way to standardize the type of garbage can we use. That would result in some pretty significant cost savings and improvements. Down to, maybe it's a lower touch amenity like signage or some that would have some savings, but not quite rise to that level. Regulatory requirement. This one is, do we have to do the project? Are we required? Is the project necessary to fulfill or meet a certain requirement that the department has? Again, 0 to 5 point scale. And we framed this one around consequences or impacts of non-compliance. So 5 points would be something that's got pretty significant impacts for non-compliance. Think large fines, or if it's something that makes us no longer eligible for grants, or if there are code compliance issues, building code, health code, things like that. Again, down to 1 point, something that maybe it's just a warning, maybe it's just a notice or something that in-house we know is a deficiency, but it's not necessarily as severe of a consequence as something that would score higher. Last portion of step 2 is focused on user impact. And I think another way of looking at this could also be user experience. So this is the human side of park usage. So how do particular projects impact folks' access and use of park facilities? We talked about projects that are going to benefit a large number of people or a lot of different user groups, scoring higher than a project that might be a smaller investment or improvement for a particular user group or a smaller group, not having quite the reach in terms of number of park users. Also, projects that are providing facilities that are not currently available would score higher as well as compared to facility that might already be available. Step 3 is that balancing act. So on the screen are those things that we will look at in this phase of so after step 2, we'll have a scored list of projects. You'll see how the projects rank and add up based on, the points they acquired during each of those 5 criteria. And then step 3 is where we'll look at these other considerations to help support which projects are advanced to the CIP. So things like geographic equity, making sure that over the course of the 6 years that the CIP covers, we're doing a general balance of projects across the 3 commissioner districts, that we're doing balance between North, Central, and South, not just focused in one commissioner district. Similarly, with project type, the PROS plan lays out 9 different capital project types. And so here wanting to make sure that, again, over the course of the 6-year look. We're not just doing a certain type of project. It's not all playgrounds or it's not all ball fields. We've got a general balance of the facilities that we're going to be working on. And those are both considerations that the Kitsap County TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program, has in their process. Again, in sort of a similar end phase. Project size, looking at a balance of different project sizes. So we're not just focusing on one big project throughout the course of time, being able to pepper in or have a few smaller projects as well. So we've got a balance of project sizes as well over the course of the CIP. Funding, looking at scheduling projects based on grants or other known funding opportunities to make sure, if we know there's a grant cycle this year, that we're able to match up the project with a potential funding source. Last one is staff capacity. And this is, do we have the capacity to take on what we're proposing to take on? And this is both within our department, within the Parks Department, but also within Public Works has a division in their department called the Capital Facilities Division that works on capital project delivery for all departments. So we'll be working with project managers in Public Works on delivery of these capital projects. So figuring out between the two, how much are we able to take on? How much are they able to take on? So next steps here. So we are at the first bullet point. We shared the draft process with the Board of County Commissioners this morning in our monthly briefing, of course, sharing it with the full PAB this evening. And then from there, we'll want to start to use it and start to put it to the test and run all of the projects through the scoring and see how it works, see if it works. And so then we are looking to have a meeting with the PAB subcommittee in early July to review that draft scoring. So consistent with all of the examples that we looked at from the other jurisdictions, planning staff or staff within the department reviewed and scored the projects, but there was always an advisory group that was able to review the scoring. So we are looking to use the PAB subcommittee to review the scoring. It will, again, like I said, it will be draft. There will be room for adjustments. There will likely be adjustments. So looking to hold that in early July. And then consistent with the pattern that we have where we're sharing the draft process, working on it with the PAB subcommittee and then bringing it to the full groups, looking to bring the draft scoring again to the Board of County Commissioners and the full PAB mid-July. Yeah, those were the slides that I prepared, but if there are any, subcommittee members who have any other thoughts or things to share their perspectives, please do.
I always have something to say, but first I want to say I was on the subcommittee and Carmen is fantastic. I am just so glad that we have her. As you've all heard, she's extremely articulate and she has this way of presenting ideas and asking questions. She is very open to us challenging her and saying, how come this or why not that? Or can you do that? And working those out. And some of the changes that I saw was the matrix that you put together with the safety one was one we were discussing and things like that. I was really also want to point out that she has taken a lot of time and filled out all of those scores, like the 1 through 5. We talked about them and she's tried very diligently to create something that anybody can pick up and get a very similar score with. But while at the same time adding that kind of like rigor and reproducibility, she's incorporated into this flexibility for parks under that balancing act so that you're not locked into this rigidity, but yet there's a systematic way so it's not just willy-nilly. And again, I just want to say that I really, really appreciated working with you, and I look forward to challenging the system.
Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate it. It's very kind.
Well, thank you very much, Carmen. Okay, moving along. Oh, boy, Alex. Budget cuts.
Yay.
Are you cutting my volunteer pay?
All right, I've got a brief, let's see. Oh, there it is working. Okay. Okay, just a few slides here to share with you, just a better way to present the information rather than just me chatting at you. As we have shared with you in past meetings, the county is anticipating an $8 million shortfall in the operating budget in 2026 in comparison to the baseline of 2025. This is due to a wide variety of structural issues in the budget process, the budget development, and the budget calculations. And this is not unique to Kitsap County. A lot of counties and other cities in the state of Washington are experiencing this. Some of the factors leading into it are some pretty steep increases in costs. This relates to the cost of benefits, cost of staffing. We have seen inflation occur over the last few years. And on the opposite side of the calculation, you have limitations on revenue generation. By state law, counties are not allowed to increase revenue by more than 1% from property taxes from year to year. And so as we see, inflation definitely rises more than 1% each year, and medical expenses definitely rise by more than 1% each year. Not that that's the only funding source, but those are examples of contributors to the structural deficit that has put us in this situation. So $8 million to the county at large, and that is all county departments, elected offices as well. And this is general fund dollars only. This does not impact special revenue accounts, special revenue funds. So for example, the Public Works Roads Funds is not impacted by this. The dollars that the utility accounts that the Public Works Department manages is not impacted by this. This is strictly based off of tax revenue coming in from Kitsap County residents into the county's general fund. Is one big pot that gets distributed to a whole bunch of different departments, Parks Department included. So what's happened recently is there were some decisions made at the commissioner level with guidance from the county's budget office, and within a way to approach the $8 million deficit. The first step that they took was to make the decision that they're going to put $2 million in reserves into that $8 million deficit to bring it down to $6 million. That $6 million deficit from 25 to 2026 is what was being targeted as the budget cut for 2026. How that was then going to be distributed across the different departments and elected offices was an open discussion for many months. But I should say, the county commissioners have finally landed on a way to distribute that to the different departments. That information by department, which I'm not going into tonight, has been shared publicly. It's on the county's website, and all of that can be had. For the Parks Department's responsibility, our budget cuts, and what they did was come up with budget cuts over a 2-year cycle. And what we are projecting or targeting in 2026 for the Parks Department, you'll see up on the screen, is a budget cut of $197,464. And then in 2027, which is a tentative target at this point, this will actually become a more solid number as we get closer to 2027, and those projections are able to become more real. But currently where they're placing us is at an additional cut of $148,098. So in total, over the 2 years, we're at about $345,000. But we don't have to do all 345 in one cut. So what we are looking at is Parks has already started working on this, but it's not final yet. So I'm not sharing exactly what that is going to be. But the items that we are looking at as tools to help us come into line with these budget cuts is you'll see in the bottom table there. We're looking at full-time employee, the FTE reductions. We currently have 5 vacancies in our department right now. We can also execute reductions to seasonal staff. We have 5 positions in the department. These are not permanent positions. These we hire for a short period of time, a 6-month period of time each year. And so they're seasonal. They're summer help. We are also looking at fee increases to 2 facilities in particular, or 2 of our event applications. One is at the President's Hall. One of our rent
I lost sound. Can't hear Alex.
Okay, give us a minute. Oh, it's fine, D. It's not a big deal. We'll get there.
Everything is on online, and it's just on TV.
They can hear, yeah.
Hey, folks online, can you hear me now? Not seeing any response. Ah, they can hear me, and my screen's still visible? All right. I think we're back in business here. Sorry about the glitch. We had an auto restart on our end, but I think we're back up and running. Okay, so continuing into the second table here about the different tools we have available to us to pull the Parks Department into alignment with the budget cuts. The last one, when we went dark, I was talking about were fee increases, the third item down. We are looking at an increase to the President's Hall rental rate, as well as park events. Everybody's favorite. We know that we have had a deficient level of fee associated with events that happen outside of the fairgrounds in our other parks, that we have not had a fee associated with those, and we've only had a $25 administrative fee. That, as a part of our fee structure updates, is being explored for fee increases, which has been brought before the Parks Advisory Board in draft form in the past. Nonetheless, we are able to look at revenue increases as a mechanism to help achieve the budget cuts. So it's not all just on the expense side. So making note of that. We recently updated, I believe, 4 of our irrigation control clocks across our park system. They are now wired into the big cloud in the sky and can read weather reports and can basically be much more efficient in terms of their operations than we have historically been. And the anticipation is that we will see cost savings in water utilities due to that. We're also exploring reducing the number of porta potties that we have across our park system. While that does decline the level of service we're able to provide to the community, it also will provide us with a cost reduction and help us achieve our budget cut goals. We're also looking at a reduction in professional development training for staff and a whole slew of other things that aren't very easy to put into one specific category. Those are just general supplies and other services, some contracted, some not, that will also reduce our costs. So, well, there's the hiring freeze. Hiring freeze. We also have a hiring freeze. Yay, Kitsap County. Before I go into this, though, are there questions about the budget cuts, what the department is being told to target, as well as maybe some of the tools that we have up on the screen? Just entertain questions for the minute, if there are any. Lisa, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, well, it was up earlier, but no, I do have a question. Actually, when is Alex Hardy and all of us meeting as a subcommittee to discuss the rate hikes for the bike park or the bike events, not the park, but that take the park, you know, because that was something we discussed. It's been 2 years now, and we're still waiting for those kind of fee structure to get developed. So I think that's a valid thing to consider.
Yeah, good comment, Lisa. Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we've got a subcommittee for the event policies targeted for July or August, and then I can't remember specifically. Maybe you can chime in with the timeline.
Yeah, so we have the subcommittee meeting scheduled for early July. So the invites have already been sent out for that. So Lisa, I think last year you were on that subcommittee, but this year I believe it's just Nancy and Jessica. But we do have that scheduled, and the reason for the delay was we got a new legal rep who is having us do things very differently than how we had done it in the past. So basically had to do a complete reorganization of the entire document, which has taken quite some time.
Wow, thank you.
So I promise it's coming. It will, I'm almost done with them this week, so I should be able to get those sent out to that subcommittee, hopefully early next week so they have time to review it before we meet, with the hopes of bringing it to the full Park Advisory Board in August.
Okay, great. I have another question on different topic, about the, this would be the forestry program. And, I'm curious as to what we all talked about, I think it was last year, about the value of trees, and is that going to be used now, being that, you know, we have a shortened budget? Are you gonna start, is the forestry department gonna start using trees for a monetary inflow of monies?
No, the program never has. It is not defined to raise money or be purposed with bringing in funds for the department. It is purposed with providing an ecological improvement and benefit to the parks. And we are still practicing that program within that same purpose.
And that's good. What about the value of the trees when you do clear and do the thinning? Where does that money go?
So we don't clear cut. So
No?
please don't use that word.
Didn't I
We
clearing,
do-
selective thinning? How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay.
So the funds that come from the sale of those trees that are thinned does come back to the department to support the forest program. And as we have discussed in the past, we have a structural impact or financial challenge within that program as well, that currently we have 2 FTEs funded by that, and that is not financially sustainable. So we are looking to move one of those FTEs out of that fund and into the general fund. We believe the forest restoration program can maintain 1 FTE, which would be the forester, but it can't support, it's not raising enough revenue to support 2. And actually recently, the value of lumber just took a dip, just went down. And so the amount that we were hoping to bring in revenue wise for 2025 is not likely to hit the target, which is a bummer, but it's where we're at.
So when do you think that will take place, when you take the second FTE off of that that funding source?
We're trying to accomplish that in 2025, or at least have it queued up for a switch in 2026.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I heard news, you know, through the grapevine, and I feel like we should learn this at PAB, but is Eglon gonna start getting thinned?
Eventually, yes.
And do you know what blocks of trees are going to be targeted?
Yes, and that is all going to go out to the public via some public meetings next month in July. So we'll have more to share at that time.
Will anybody have any impact as to whether trees get saved or not, or is this just a park decision?
This is based on best science available and the purpose of the program.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions about the budget cut stuff? This is for Parks Advisory Board only. Questions from the public can come during the public comment period afterwards. Okay, the second portion, Lisa, you have your hand up again?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
The second thing I wanted to talk about kind of also that happened recently and was also publicized. So I'm sure that if not all of you, some of you have seen this. The county also passed a resolution on June 9th, creating a temporary hiring freeze from now through the end of the year. This put a freeze on any hirings that aren't already in motion with having at least been to the interview process right now. However, there are some exceptions built into the resolution, and one that can benefit us as well as other departments who may have more vacancies than they need to achieve the 2026 budget cuts. And that carve out basically is that if you are going to use your vacancies to achieve your 2026 budget cuts, once you come up with your plan for your budget cuts, your plan is approved by the budget office. If beyond that you have additional vacancies still on the books, you will be able to move those forward to refill those positions. So in short, and you can see the example on the screen, which is probably pretty close to reality, that in the 197,000 that we'll be looking to cut, it is going to impact some full-time staff positions. We will be looking at vacant positions, and at the end of the budget office's approval, we will have some vacancies. We will then be able to move forward to rehiring. Specifically which ones, I don't know yet, but we are still fine tuning the budget cut plan.
Alex, we're talking about using vacancies for budget cuts and everything. The billet will still remain there. It just will not be filled. Or will the billets be going away?
They will be going away permanently. This is not just our department, this is across the county. And this is because of the structural deficit. If they come back, it will be at some point in the future when there is a better balance of revenue coming into the county versus the expenses it takes to operate the county.
I would say thank you, but I really don't appreciate that news.
Yeah. So next steps, as I mentioned, park staff, we're working on a 2-year budget cut proposal. By this, I don't mean we are taking both years all at once, but we are working on a tiered budget cut approach. Once we have this in place and we've got our ducks in a row, so to speak, we will take it before the budget office for review and confirmation that we're presenting meets those budget cut targets. Once we are have everything dialed in and approved with the budget office, we will bring that plan back to the Parks Advisory Board. But until then, it's all in draft form and not necessary to share with the PAB just yet. Also, once it's approved, it'll be incorporated into the 2026 budget. We will have our bottom line that we are targeting. And then we launch into the budget process, which will happen in the next month. The county budget office sends out a call to budget letter in early July. We basically get a month to build out our budget for 2026. Those submissions are due in early August. And then it gets approved by the commissioners in December, just prior to 2026. In between those months, the county budget office is compiling all of the different departments and elected offices together and making sure that everything meshes well, making adjustments, and then making sure that by the time we get to December, we have a budget that's balanced before it goes before the commissioners for a vote and approval. And that is the joyous news budget cuts and hiring freezes. Any questions on the hiring freeze? I guess resolution or order that we're currently under. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Wonderful news. Moving on, Parks report, director's report. Got any better news for us than that you just gave us?
I do. So not all is all budget cuts and hiring freezes. Okay, so a couple updates, and this is items in the director's report, so you have it in writing there. But just to highlight to a couple items, in the capital projects program at the top of the report, we have some exciting news built into here. But the first one, just for an FYI for everybody, that we have 6 tennis courts at the county fairgrounds. Those are under a joint agreement with the Central Kitsap School District for maintenance and capital investment. These courts are in better shape than the Suquamish and Indianola sport courts and tennis courts there. But they too have some heaving issues and some cracking. And the Central Kitsap School District is taking on their shoulders a rebuild project of tearing down the 6 tennis courts and rebuilding them with Central Kitsap School District dollars. That's exciting. It is going to close them down for the summer months, but that work is set to begin here. We thought they were going to be mobilizing this week, but it looks like it might be next week, and then construction will follow. They are targeting having construction completed by the time school starts in late August, early September-ish, whenever it is around here. Dawn, please.
I just wanted to because I've been lost. The director's report has the wrong date at the top. It has the May 21. So if anybody's confused, it's there.
Yeah. Apologies. Next item, Point No Point repair and shoreline repair project. I'm so tired of talking about this project that I am very excited to say it is out for public bid currently. We are down to just one remaining permit from the U.S. Coast Guard. They have previously told us that we would get it by June 20th. We've not yet received it, but we had decided to move forward regardless and simultaneously with the public bidding process. Public bids are due by July 9th, after which we would move into a contracting phase with the best qualified low bid, and then still targeting completing the work this year in 2025. So project seems to be moving, fingers, toes, everything crossed that we're able to achieve that before the end of the year. Port Campbell Forest Heritage Park, the North Gateway Trailhead at the current dead end of Carver Drive is scheduled to break ground on July 7th. As indicated in the report, completion is anticipated in late September, early October-ish. We don't know exactly when, but it'll be in approximately that time frame. Moving on, another Port Gamble item under Natural Resources Program, as well as in an attached map in your packet. And maybe I'll pull up the map and share it on the screen real quick if I can find it in my super long report. There we go. We have 4 different areas within the Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park that will receive selective thinning this year in 2025. The first one is up here at the north end. This is within the ride park, the mountain bike ride park area at the north end of the boundary. This one, they began mobilizing this week. So this one is due to get constructed, or not constructed, get to have the forest thinned over the next few weeks. While this is happening, the northern portion of the mountain bike ride park, all the trails in there are closed. This area in the middle here is the Ranger Corridor. This is also a mountain bike trail area. And those trails will be closed down during thinning efforts here, which will happen later this year. And then a little further south, but we're still well within the northern half of the park. There are 2 separate units here that will receive restorative thinning there as well. And so that is the forest practices application permit has been approved by the DNR, and those projects are moving forward. And lastly, since we already talked about the capital facility or capital improvement priorities, is an update on the PROS plan. Last night, the PROS plan received a signed findings of fact from the Planning Commission, and with one edit to it. There was one edit regarding a statement about wildfire smoke that was inserted into a certain paragraph within the plan. That process now moves forward to the Board of County Commissioners, and we will be discussing with the commissioners their process and what we have penciled in on the schedule already for them soon. Make sure that meets their needs and desires, and the intent is to move it forward over the remainder, well, not really June, but in July and early August, and hopefully have it wrapped up by early August, at which we would then be able to take it to RCO for final review and approval. And that concludes my director's report.
Any questions for Alex? Hearing no questions, moving on. Subcommittee reports, capital parks and projects and parks. CIP prioritization. Do we have anything else to go with that? Nope. Oh, okay.
Not for me, no, thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. District representative reports. What's going on in your house, in your town, in your neighborhood? Dawn?
I love to talk, so here I am. I wanted to also respond to something Lisa had mentioned about questioning about cutting trees and things. We do have a Discover Kitsap Park activity coming up, and I was trying to find the date just now, but Kevin will be down at Banner Forest talking about forest health and those kinds of things. And I just wanted to remind people that there are really good ecological reasons that sometimes we need to cut trees. I hate to cut trees, but sometimes it's necessary. And that it's also, there are some really good ecological reasons, diseases and pest outbreaks, that we can't leave everything lay on the ground. It would be great if we could, but we also don't have the ability to just cut 1 or 2 trees every year and pretend like we're nature. But I just encourage you to go to Banner talk to Kevin, ask him these questions, and he can help you understand and learn about some of these practices, why they're done, why they're important, and more importantly, how they can really help the forests and our parks. So if does anybody know when that day is? We'll eventually, but Google Kitsap or discover Kitsap Parks. I think there are 3 of them coming up. So they're usually good talks.
Anybody else? Yes, Nancy.
There is, normally the Newberry Hill Work Party is the 3rd Saturday of the month, with the 3rd Thursday being the meeting. This month's work party has been moved to Friday, June 27th, and I'll just read this. We'll be hosting a work party on Friday, June 27th at 8:30 a.m. at a rarely visited portion of the park. This parcel lies on the south side of Seebeck Highway. So at the roundabout, it's catty corner to the roundabout. There's a parcel there that's not been open to the public. There's features a young Gary Oak gallery that will someday stand tall for all to enjoy. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. We will be removing vegetation around the trees to give them the best chance of survival. If time allows, we'll tackle some Scotch broom while they're there. Wear long pants and sturdy shoes, bring gloves, water and snacks, and any other items to ensure you have an enjoyable day. The entry is a 2-track dirt road immediately across from Reddy's Lane. See map. Hope to see you out there. That's from Aaron. This parcel's got a lot of wetlands in it, which is one of the reasons it's a very sensitive wetlands. It's not been open to the public at this time. But it is where they are trying, if you've heard about a bridge they're trying to get across Wildcat Creek, this is where it's at. Because that would allow people to mountain bike from Newberry Hill Heritage Park to Green Mountain. And not be disturbing the creek. The bridge would be above the creek, so there's, yeah. Anyway. That's what I know from Central.
Thank you very much. I got nothing. Okay, public comments, 3 minutes per person.
Test? Okay. My name is Casey Patton. I'm from the Kitsap Aircraft Radio Control Society. And I'd like to go ahead and shout out not only what Dawn echoed about Carmen and a welcome addition to the Parks Department, but on behalf of our park or our field, during our visit, when she came out to look at it, I went ahead and explained to her one of the safety hazards that we perceive that we've encountered many times. And I explained the same thing to you, Alex, about the feasibility of widening the shoulder on the park's gate side only towards the south end of the gate, only because we've had a lot of maintenance done over the course of the years. And anybody that's coming from the Lake Floor Road that has a truck and a trailer with equipment, they have to come down to the gate entrance, park in the roadway, get out of the roadway, cross the street around that blind corner, open up the gate, then get back in their truck and then pull on into the gate. We've had in excess of at least a dozen nearly T-bone accidents as a result of that equipment pulling in. And Carmen reached out to the Public Works, and unfortunately, the director of the Public Works deemed that it was not, it could not be accomplished as far as widening that. And I'm not sure exactly why. I'd like to really see what I could do about working with you to see what we can do about maybe even getting on the agenda with the commissioners to have a picture to show them what's happening and why the justification is that we need to go ahead and expand that median or that parking, that shoulder. Yes. But it's throughout the course of the year, once or twice a year, we're gonna have a big maintenance effort, possibly moving dirt around to cover up the depressions or bring in rocks to go ahead and for our driveway and stuff like that. And or also if we need to go ahead and get a piece of rental equipment to like maybe cut down the scotch broom or some of the other brush there. We have that truck and trailer coming in, it'll only be whenever we have our maintenance. But whenever we're trying to do that, we're going to have a couple of other spotters out there for whenever the trucks are turning in, where we can go ahead and try to stop the traffic while they're making a turn.
Yeah, to me, it seems like, you know, if you synchronize the time with the people, the volunteers that would be using the maintenance trucks and stuff, you could avoid having the cost of fixing that shoulder and just opening the gate for people to come in. So you didn't have to like, since we don't have the money right now, yeah, it would be a synchronization situation. Timing.
If they do what?
Oh, sorry, if you guys would like, you know, say 3 o'clock, everybody meet at the gate, and then you open the gate and everybody would just come through, they wouldn't have to park the truck and then cross the road and then drive the truck through the gate, you know, just open the gate so that people could just come through. You know, figure out a time and meet there and everybody just comes through. That's just a thought, save a little money.
Consider that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Casey, for looking into that. And for any of you that haven't been there, you should check it out. It's on definitely a blind curve. There is a very small pull off. You can get one car without blocking the gate. And I'm not even sure if you could get a large pickup truck with a trailer pulled off of the road to get out and open up if you were coming from the from the north there. So it really is an issue. And I think long-term, if, parks can help with that issue, because somebody really is going to get hurt there.
Carmen did help give us a hand with the Parks Department, the Public Works, unfortunately, it was denied. So, thank you again.
Any other public comments? D.
We do have public comment and we're starting with Martha Burke. Martha, I'll allow you to talk. Go ahead.
Oh, so you can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, well, so while I've been waiting, Alex and I have been sort of chatting in the chat. So just a couple comments. One is, I think that I really wanted to support what Lisa was saying about the need to improve or increase the fees especially for the bike park. It seems like, there's a cost to the parks in managing those events, and that should be covered. But in addition, it should be, since it's such it's a benefit to the bike riding groups. They make money on those events, and really, I think that the fee should be high enough to recoup some of those what they get in terms of funding. So that's one comment, and then the other one was just had to do with what Alex was saying about budget reductions. And one of the things he said was to reduce the number of porta potties. But I remember that when you were drafting up that plan, that was one of the things that came out as a really high priority, to provide more bathrooms. So I'm wondering if that's really the best way to try to balance the budget is to reduce the number of porta potties. Seems like you need more, not less. So anyway, those are my two comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dee?
Yes, and now we will allow Carol Price to talk.
Good evening. I first of all want to thank Kitsap County Parks for the mowing job they did at Eglon. It's terrific. They did a great job, and I'm sure they saved the trails group a lot of work. So thanks for that. I also want to second Martha's thought on the porta potties. I'm kind of shocked that you would reduce the number of porta potties when us little old ladies who walk out in those parks really, we need porta potties. We need more, not fewer. And at least one per park, for God's sake. You know, here you are putting fancy I don't even know, vault toilets at Port Gamble. They get 16, and here's all these other parks that have nothing. It's really sad. And finally, please don't extend a trail from Newberry Hill to Green Mountain. Please, I beg you, don't do that, especially if it's for mountain bikes. Green Mountain is already under assault by off-road vehicles of all kinds. It's really horrible. So, and that the wonderful Davis Trail that runs along the wetland is a really important trail. Let's keep it green and peaceful and lay off with off-road vehicles. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And now we will allow Joe Lubisher to talk. Go ahead.
Good evening. I wanted to address the thinning project. It's my understanding that the last thinning project at Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park removed all the trees that were cut. That's what I got from Kevin. And that doesn't seem to be in line with best practices right now, as evidenced, for example, by GPC's work of leaving considerable amount of timber on the ground and creating a significant number of snags. So I would ask the park board members to get a hold of the current contract and find out what it says, and exert some pressure to use the best available science for specifying the thinning practices. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay, seeing no more comments. I only have one other item on my agenda, that being item 9, which says adjournment. I would entertain a motion. Somebody has to motion we adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Thank you, Lisa.
You
I
bet.
second.
Nancy, thank you. All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. We will see y'all next month.